welcome to the first official day of Supabase Launch Week number 6. My name is John Myers, I'm a developer advocate here at Supabase, and if this is your first launch week, welcome to the community. You've joined us at an excellent time. We're going to announce a new big feature every day this week, so make sure you're following us on Twitter and you've subscribed to our YouTube channel with that little notification bell lit up so you don't miss a thing. Today we are super excited to be launching version 2 of our doc site. This has been a massive rewrite over from Docusaurus to Next.js, and we have Johnny and Andrew, aka SilentWorks, here to tell us all about it. Take it away.
Welcome to Supabase Launch Week number 6. Today we're announcing our improved documentation website. I'm here with my colleague Johnny to tell us more about this exciting update. Hey Johnny.
Hey Andrew. Yeah, I'm super excited about this. We've been working super hard for like 2 months, basically rewriting the doc site. And we're just like super happy that this is finally going out. We've basically rewritten it from the ground up. So it's now in Next.js. But along the way, we've decided to basically just improve as much as we can, like across everything. So there's a whole new design, whole new layout, new nav bar. We've basically redone all the reference docs. We've even like redone how we generate reference docs as well, which I can talk about in a bit. And we've also added a few new things as well. So we've added some quick starts in there as well, which I think are quite important for anyone who's like new to Supabase and just wants to get going like immediately in a few minutes. So yeah, really excited. I think it's maybe online now. It might be online after this video goes out, but it's on supabase.com/docs. And yeah, should we have a chat about it?
Yeah, sure. The old doc site was really good. What did this rewrite involve?
Yeah, so yeah, it was on Docusaurus before. So anyone who's like basically, made their own library or like have their own startup and maybe you have documentation, you probably would have heard of Docusaurus. I personally think it's amazing. It's kind of a shame that we did move away from it. But we basically had to move away from it because Supabase has, anyone who's using Supabase knows we've got quite a lot of client libraries. We have a CLI, a management API, and we have others coming as well. So I think we've got like maybe 8 different client libraries. So they're all, and they've all got their own versions as well. And I think we've kind of like hit the limit of what Docusaurus can do. And we kind of realized quite quickly that like we can either like keep working against Docusaurus, trying to like make all of our like requirements work for that kind of like singular purpose. Or we can basically just like migrate and try and use something else, I suppose. The thing is, though, we decided to use Next.js because all of our other websites use Next.js and they're in a mono repo with turbo repo. So that was like the obvious decision. But the thing is, like, it took quite a lot of false starts. So I think we tried like 4 times over like the last year. So I say we've been working over 2 months. We actually like have been playing around and making like, random Next.js sites and like making experiments with Next.js for like, a year ago, I think is the first one we did. So it's been a long time coming, but anyone who's made docs knows that it's quite hard, and it's not just like picking the right tech stack or like picking the right framework. You also have to like make sure that everything else is okay. Like, how do we get the reference docs in? How do we like manage our guides, and like how did the sound, like what's the tone of voice with them and things like that. So it's it was pretty hard, but I think we nailed it, and I think this version is like quite a lot better than the last one.
Nice. Has this had an impact on writing documentation at Supabase?
Yeah. So I think there's 2 sides of that. I think you have like the community who kind of like want to like add, maybe change something, maybe a small PR, or maybe it's like someone who's got an integration and they want to add it to the Supabase like list of integrations. That's great. I mean, it's all open source. Like you can basically do a pull request and change these things. But beforehand, like I think even when we had Docusaurus, it was quite hard to like sometimes find the right file if it was auto-generated, and then if it wasn't auto-generated, it wasn't really in the the location that you think it's going to be in. So we've kind of like followed the Next.js like pages structure for all of the guides. So if you ever need to find something, you just basically have to follow the URL path of where it could be. And then I think like the other side of it is kind of like internally, like how do we kind of like auto generate things like reference docs, which is what like a lot of the Supabase team members are involved in. And I think beforehand, the way it was generated was that we ran some like obscure script in the doc site where it would generate loads of markdown files, which weren't checked into version control. So anyone who's like trying to work on these reference docs would be a little confused. Like, is it do I edit this markdown file or do I edit the script? And like, it got a bit confusing. So we decided to like completely move away from that kind of setup. And now we have like Next.js pages, which are bringing in like multiple inputs, I suppose. So we have things coming from YAML files, we have things coming from markdown files, and it's all going into these like slug Next.js pages using like a mix of I think Next MDX and also HashiCorp's like Next Remote MDX as well. So like rather than like picking one MDX solution, we actually used both in the end because like we had the guides that were using one, and then we had the reference docs that were like basically all these like multiple external things needed to come together. So we had to use a different setup for that.
Yeah, so all these new updates sound like good user experience and developer experience all in one. So what does documentation look like in the future at Supabase?
Well, pretty exciting. I mean, the first one is probably something that probably everyone has seen on like other doc sites, and it's not that surprising. We're quite keen on bringing over authentication into the doc site. So that what that really means is you have authentication in the dashboard. So if you're logged into the dashboard, you should be logged into the doc site as well. And that kind of opens up the possibility of like selecting like the project that you're interested in. And then we can kind of enrich the snippets or like the code samples with the project URL or the project anon ID, things like that. So when you copy over these code snippets, they're already like pre-filled with the stuff you need for your project. So I think that's kind of like, predictable, I suppose, but we're excited to like really get that in and do it right as well. Some other stuff that I think we're interested in is maybe leveraging like Postgres WASM. So anyone who follows our blog would have seen, I think Mark, one of our team members, has been working on that. So we can maybe run like Postgres in the browser, and then we can maybe like actually have like a sample database that you can interact with. So you can maybe run like some Supabase JS in the doc site, so that you can like play around with like how to use some of these client libraries like directly in the browser. I think that's like a really good way of like showing people like the power of like Supabase like quite quickly without them having to like set up their own like local environment and things like that. I think another thing that we were looking at as well, which is actually public as well. Like if you look at there should be a blog post that goes out after this. There should be a link in it for one of the tutorial spike that we've done with Rodrigo from CodeHype, the guy I mentioned before. So he's actually like helped us try and make like a fully interactive like in-browser experience. So you can follow a tutorial and everything is actually running in the browser. Including like the Supabase project is being connected to, and we've got like a CLI running in the browser. It's all like pretty exciting, but it's all public, and if anyone wants to check it out, you can check it out, but we haven't got to finishing that yet.
Thanks for sharing with us today, Johnny. Be sure to check out the docs at supabase.com/docs and let us know your thoughts.
Awesome. I am very excited to see those brand new docs. And this is only the beginning. We'll be launching something huge every day this week, so to make sure that you don't miss out on any of the action, subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit that little notification bell. Follow us on Twitter to hear more about these launches and also our top tier memes. And join our community Discord to chat with like-minded folks who are also excited about Supabase. We'll be kicking off a Twitter space shortly to answer some of your questions, so come hang out with the team and we'll see you for another big launch tomorrow. You won't want to miss it.